more and more residents are stocking their freezers with Montana beef. I'm KEELEY Van Middendorp, and your Montana Ag Network report is next.
It's just really, really hard for grandparents.
I'm Zach Shermley in Great Falls. Coming up, we have a look at how the foster grandparent program here in Great Falls Public Schools looks a lot different because of the pandemic.
And later, we've heard what the candidates for governor have to say tonight. More from the lesser-known names on the ticket.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Thanks for making KRTV a part of your night. I'm Tim McGonigal.
And I'm Hallie Schwinnard. First tonight, since March, a ranch in Highwood has seen more demand for packaged meat, and it's prompting new possibilities as market uncertainty continues. The
Montana Ag Network's KEELEY Van Middendorp has more.
They love that stuff. It's just like candy for them.
Big Sky Montana Beef and Malik Angus Ranch owner Ty Malik says he's seen a big demand for local beef as more families eat at home during the pandemic.
Quarters of beef, halves of beef, whole beef.
He says the most popular product in recent months has been ground beef as residents look to stock up their freezers.
Our biggest demand has just been straight hamburger. People eat a ton of hamburger. They love it.
Now, Malik tells me demand for packaged meat products is up significantly. He estimates that sales have increased around 40% since March.
And we're gaining customers every day.
Big Sky Montana Beef is also supplying more meat to area restaurants who now rely on private producers like Malik for product after shortages hit grocery store aisles earlier this spring.
They couldn't only buy a few packages, or they were limited in quantity, and that's not very good for restaurants when they're using hundreds of pounds a week or month.
The third-generation Montana rancher says the uncertainty of the pandemic has led to a focus on eating local, a cause he says residents should prioritize moving forward.
You know where your meat comes from. I mean, you can, just like right now, you can come out here in the pasture and see it standing in the pasture. And if you get it from us, whereas your stuff you buy on the shelf, you don't know where it comes from.
Malik is even considering adding another protein to his plate as customers continue to buy up beef.
We actually been thinking about getting into buying some pigs. I told my wife about it the other day, and she says we don't have a pin for them, so we have to build one, but that wouldn't be the end of the world.
For the Montana Ag Network, I'm KEELEY Van Middendorp.
Malik is also using social media more to sell local beef. We have a link to their Facebook page on our website.
If you're still undecided in the race for Montana's next governor, maybe the running mates will help you decide. Both lieutenant governor candidates live in Great Falls, and when it comes to north central Montana, the two hopefuls for lieutenant governor have strong connections and deep roots. Democrat Casey Schreiner grew up in Great Falls and graduated from Montana State University. Schreiner is completing his fourth and final term in the Montana House, where he serves as minority leader. Republican KRISTEN JURAS was born and raised in Conrad. She got her undergraduate degree from the University of Montana before going to law school in Georgia. Her career as an attorney includes stops in Georgia and Oklahoma before returning to Montana in 1988. JURAS says if Gianforte wins in November, she has no plans to take a back seat. For Schreiner, he believes his professional and personal experience are what sets him apart.
I am not just going to be a candidate, a lieutenant governor that cuts ribbons. I'm going to go to work cutting the red tape. We will be doing a top-to-bottom agency review, identifying outdated, unnecessary, redundant regulations.
So it's not an accident that Mike chose a former public school teacher, somebody who has actually experienced what education budget cuts do. It's not an accident that Mike picked a special needs parent. Two of my sons are on the autism spectrum. Mike understands that we should have diverse perspectives and that every Montana deserves representation.
Schreiner was a candidate for governor before dropping out in February. JURAS ran unsuccessfully for Montana Supreme Court back in 2016. Switching gears now, the winds are picking up and expecting to strengthen. Meteorologist Grant Garland is in to tell us more. Hi, Grant.
Hi, Tim. Good evening, and that's exactly right. Already we've seen a very windy day. Looking at just sustained winds alone, not wind gusts. We're looking at 18-mile-per-hour winds here in Great Falls as well as Cut Bank. Now let's look at our current wind gusts. 29 miles an hour up towards Cut Bank. We were seeing that earlier in Great Falls. And now let's get a 4-day wind gust tracker. We are looking at 55-mile-per-hour winds tomorrow, dropping down to 30 on Friday and Saturday, and then picking back up on Sunday at 35 miles an hour. So definitely a windy next couple of days for us all. 76 in Great Falls right now, though, 75 in Helena and 78 in Jordan. Overall, we've seen clouds making their way back into the Treasure State, but out towards Glasgow, seeing mostly sunny skies for the time being. Heading throughout the next several hours, by 9 p.m. 61 and by 6 a.m. 59. Overall, temperatures dropping down to 53 degrees in Great Falls as well as Lewistown and 55 in Hayes. Now, coming up, we're going to talk about not only a windy day, but also critical fire weather conditions that are expected tomorrow. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Grant. We'll call it a sign of the times. A local healthcare facility is preparing to offer a new service. MTN's Coulter Anstad shows us how Alluvion Health is trying to make education a little easier for employees with kids.
It's set up in like 4 different pod areas, so we're going to have workstations kind of separate from each other.
The former insurance office at 111 5th Street North in downtown Great Falls is about to become an education center.
We are serving multiple districts, and each of those districts has a remote learning procedure set in place, so we are simply just here to support that procedure.
The center is expected to open next week. For a small fee, Alluvion employees will be able to sign their kids up for one of 3 tutoring sessions each day, each a maximum of 4 hours. Courtney Dahl, who was a teacher in Great Falls for 7 years before being hired by Alluvion earlier this year, will help the kids with their schoolwork when they come in.
I think it's such an awesome and cool experience because this doesn't happen every day. I think that we'll see a lot of turnout, and I'm excited about that.
The center will be set up so kids will be socially distant, and there will only be 2 to 3 kids allowed in each of the 4 pods.
This will be kind of a break room for kids. I think the staff is really excited to utilize the facility. I just think that it gives them a peace of mind knowing that their kids can get support and that we're flexible with their schedule.
The center will be open through at least December. In Great Falls, Coulter Anstad, MTN News.
Once the building is no longer needed for education, Alluvion will use it for something else.
If you're a teacher who needs extra help in the classroom, you may be in luck. Officials with the Foster Grandparents Program in Great Falls are preparing for a meeting with the school district. Foster grandparents haven't been allowed in school buildings since March, but that could change. MTN's Zach Shermley introduces us to 2 foster grandparents who are itching to see the kids again.
For the last decade, Grandma Frankie has spent at least 8 hours a day at East Middle School, where she's a foster grandparent. Her job? Anything that they need.
Anything that they need, they read to us. We do timings, we do everything.
But it's not just a job.
They're my life. I'm not used to this. I'm with my kids at all times. And I wonder how they're doing, what become of them. It's just really, really hard for a grandparent.
The Foster Grandparent Program in Cascade County is a program for low-income seniors funded through a federal grant. Most foster grandparents work in the school district, but when the pandemic hit last semester, Grandma Frankie and the over 30 other foster grandparents were told they couldn't come to school.
It's hard.
How much you miss the kids?
A lot.
It's also been hard for Grandma Bev, who works over at Lincoln. The thought of going back? Thinking about going into a school building is probably, although you might miss the kids, I bet it's a scary thought.
It is. There are several that do have underlying health conditions that we do need to be extra cautious of.
Tina Lopez, the program director for the Foster Grandparent Program, knows how her staff is feeling.
Very impatient. They know that their teachers need a lot of help, and they want to be there to help them with whatever they can.
They gave the school district about a month to establish a cleaning routine, but now...
We do have a meeting next week with the school district to talk about protocols and safety guidelines for reintroducing them back into the schools.
In Great Falls, I'm Zach Shermley, MTN News.
That meeting will take place next Wednesday with the GFPS Assistant Superintendent. Coming up, what one local police department is doing to combat car break-ins. Stay with us.
You're watching KRTV, Montana's news leader.
I'm Steve Deans and I approve this message. I'm endorsed by the NRA and received an A+ rating. They gave Steve Bullock an F. Steve Bullock is ready to help Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden pass the most radical gun control laws in our nation's history.
Why are Mike Cooney and his liberal allies spending millions to attack Greg Gianforte? Because career politician Mike Cooney can't hide his big government plans. Cooney wants to grow government instead of tax cuts and supports a government takeover of health care. He's all about bigger government and a massive Montana sales tax that would be a disaster. 44 years of Mike Cooney is enough, more than enough. RGA Right Direction PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
There's a lot of noise out there, but it shouldn't be complicated. The Attorney General should be independent. But my opponent is a partisan extremist who said he'd rip away health care protections and sell off our public lands. I'm Rafe Graybill. I fought to protect our public lands, and I won. I've sued the feds and won. I will be an independent watchdog. I'll protect our health care, and I'll stop the price gouging.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
Welcome back. One local police department is increasing its effort to use social media to help prevent car break-ins. The Great Falls Police Department has posted a graphic to Facebook that lists tips for preventing break-ins. Recently, there has been a spike in break-ins. The Facebook post is something the department has done before, but it will now be made more frequently.
We've received positive feedback and comments to that effect from some of our viewers. If property isn't getting broken into and people have protected their valuables, then we consider it a success.
To see the Facebook post, you can click on the link in this story on our website.
This weekend, Oddfellow Inn Farm are raising funds to thank first responders that averted a potentially catastrophic fire event earlier this month. MTN's John Riley explains.
On September 2nd, the Oddfellow Inn and Farm narrowly avoided losing everything to a wildfire that burned more than 600 acres in the area.
Well, it was terrifying. I mean, my sweetheart gave me a call because he was up on the hill and he said, you know, you might want to call your boss. It looks like there's a fire headed straight to Oddfellow. I was frantically trying to post on social media for people to bring their trailers out here as they were hitting everything with water. Like there was embers falling on the barn and just like a big black cloud of smoke coming towards them.
Fire crews were able to stop the fire from crossing Head Lane by Oddfellow, saving the historic property. To thank the crews that worked tirelessly to fight the fire and evacuate homes, Oddfellow will be holding a 5-course charity fundraising dinner on Friday, Harvestival on Saturday, and a charity brunch on Sunday, with all profits going to Lewis and Clark Rural Fire Services.
It's important for us to support those people in the community who are keeping us safe, and it's been really great to see the support that we've received through sponsorships or volunteers or donations. I'm just really excited that we're going to be able to present them with some funds that will hopefully help them continue to do the work that they've been doing.
Due to COVID guidelines, Oddfellow did have to limit the number of attendees to the Saturday event to 250 people. Tickets are sold out, however, they're still collecting donations online, and every dime will go to supporting local volunteer firefighting efforts. Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
Well, a windy day is expected for the next 4 days here. Don't go away. Your 7-day forecast is coming up next.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Grant Garland.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. I hope that you have had a fantastic Wednesday. Temperatures right now 76 degrees here in the Electric City, a little bit cooler in Helena at 75, 74 in Lewistown. Out towards Jordan, a little bit warmer at 78 degrees. Now, the average for this time of year is around 67, so yes, we are well above that, but it doesn't feel that bad outside with the lack of humidity. And a record high was set back in 1966 when it was 93 degrees. That was also the year that Charlie Brown, It's a Great Pumpkin, that was out. That was a popular film. Overall, we have seen a windy day today. Peak wind gusts around 31 miles an hour here in the Electric City and 30 in Cut Bank. Expect these to possibly possibly be even double tomorrow as we go throughout the day. 22 in Dillon and 20 in Butte. Overall, over the last 3 hours, we've been looking at clouds making their way out towards the east, bringing with it mostly cloudy conditions for us all. We have a good bit of watches and warnings tomorrow. First off, I want to go ahead and say we have a fire weather warning, all thanks to how dry we're going to be on the eastern side of Helena, as well as because of our winds picking up. Also, we have a high wind warning for those north of Great Falls, Cut Bank, Browning, all included. And then we have a high wind watch for those in Havre, all thanks to our winds. And when we're talking about this over the next 4 days, we're going to be looking at 55-mile-per-hour winds gusting tomorrow here in the Electric City, dropping down to 30 for both Friday and Saturday, then picking back up to 35 on Sunday. Going throughout the day tomorrow, we're going to be seeing anywhere from 30 to 60 mile-per-hour winds gusting at a time. So just get ready for a windy day. Make sure that if you have any loose objects outside, that you probably want to go ahead and bring them in, or at least tether them down. Now, the reason why I say the fire weather watch is pretty much going to be east of Helena, for one, we see this map, but also it's because of moisture that's going to be brought into the area tomorrow morning. As we have that cold front move through right around 7 a.m., rain stays really towards the left side of the cold front, bringing rain possibly to those in Missoula. And then as far as it moves, as the cold front moves towards the eastern part of the state, we're going to see that rain taper out. So the moisture is going to be really in place on the western side of us, but not on the eastern side, which is why we have that critical fire weather going on tomorrow, as well as because of our high winds. Throughout the day on Thursday, should be looking at, because that front pushing down, after the rain tapers off, we should be looking at mostly sunny skies for us all. But then our next system moves in. Low pressure with tracking cold front behind it moves into Spokane by 5:30 on Friday. That will bring us some rain on Saturday. Overall, we're not expecting much rain tomorrow. Most of it will stay out towards the western parts of Helena, possibly picking up some down towards Billings. Our temperatures, because of that cold front, will drop us down to 63 on Saturday before warming us back up into the 70s after that. You can always stay weather aware by following me on social media at meteorologist Grant Garland on Facebook, and also downloading that free KRTV app. Tonight, temperatures falling down to 53 degrees in Great Falls as well as Lewistown. Walking out the door tomorrow in the upper 50s. I don't think you're going to need that light jacket with you. Overall, 67 in Great Falls, 66 in Helena, 79 in Jordan, 78 in Glasgow. We are expecting a windy next couple of days again, with a few showers on tap for Friday as well as on Saturday and possibly even Sunday. Then things calm down and we dry out starting on Monday. Tim?
Thanks, Grant. And still to come, hear how reading has enriched the lives of children. It's part of our If You Give a Child a Book campaign, and it's next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
Welcome back. On Tuesday, we heard from teachers and staff at West Elementary regarding the importance of childhood literacy.
As KRTV's If You Give a Child a Book campaign continues, Tom Wylie hears directly from the students themselves about how reading has impacted their lives.
For educators, there's no greater joy than watching their students learn to read.
It's amazing to see the looks on their faces when they crack the code, if you will, of reading. It's just priceless.
But for the students here at West Elementary, reading is so much more than just putting sounds and words together. It can be an escape and an outlet.
Reading just helps me escape from my life and go into another.
I enjoy books because when I open it, I can get all my stress off. So then it gets my mind off of things.
Sierra Noyar and JOCELYN Baker are students at West Elementary, where the staff has helped them learn to read and develop a passion for books.
The librarians here, they help me out a lot. And they recommend me books. And I mean, before I liked reading, but I wouldn't spare my time. But now I'd rather read than go out and socialize.
I couldn't really read when I was younger, so I didn't really like them. But now since I am able to pronounce words and understand them, now I'm getting better at reading, and now I love reading.
They're thrilled at the prospect of receiving new books through the Scripps Howard Foundation's If You Give a Child a Book campaign, not just for themselves, for their classmates and those who lack access to books.
You know, what's your feeling when you open up a new book for the first time?
Exhilaration.
I would just say keep reading, and then you may like it because then you'll see the mysteries and all the excitement in the books.
In Great Falls, Tom Wylie, MTN News.
Of the 420 students enrolled at West, 82% of them qualify for free or reduced price lunches due to low socioeconomic status. To help raise money to put books in the hands of students in need, you can visit krtv.com/giveabook. And don't go away, we'll be right back.
Tonight, temperatures falling down to 53 in Great Falls as well as Lewistown, 56 in Havre. As we start off tomorrow morning, right around 7 a.m., 58-degree temperatures. I don't think you're going to need a light jacket. 64 by 4 p.m. though. We will see temperatures only get up to 67 in Great Falls, 66 in Helena, but head out east towards Glasgow, 78. And we are looking at a very, very windy day tomorrow, possibly 70 to 80 mile per hour winds for those up towards Cut Bank, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds and those in Cut and Whitlash. And we are looking at possibly 55 mile per hour winds here in Great Falls.
Ooh, windy. Hershey wants to add a little more flavor to what's been a difficult 2020. The company announced plans to include the salty side of life into its peanut butter cups by adding pretzels.
Hershey says the new treat will hit stores in November and will be a permanent addition to the Reese's lineup. The company worries how the pandemic will impact Halloween this year, so they've announced the new treats to look forward to after the holiday.
Now that looks amazing.
It does.
That's a great combination.
Chocolate and pretzels, you cannot go wrong with that.
Yeah, and peanut butter.
Well, I could do with just chocolate and pretzels, to be honest with you.
All right, so enjoy those, and we'll see you back here tonight at 10.